Hey everybody, my name is Nicholas Semrad, and I'm here with my friends at Guitar Center to show you the brand new Yamaha Montage M Series synthesizers. I'm a keyboard player and sound designer from here in Los Angeles, California. I've toured with such artists as Corey Henry and the Funk Apostles, Mark Juliana, and Miss Lauryn Hill, and I've done sound design for such films as Space Jam and such TV shows as Secret Invasion. I've been touring and playing with Yamaha keyboards such as the Motif and the previous Montage for about 4 or 5 years now, and I've also been lucky enough to work on this specific keyboard and do some sound design and some beta testing for it. I was immediately drawn to Yamaha because not only do they value their artists' opinions and really listen to what they have to say, but they make really great products that are super easy to use and also very high quality. Both the Motif and the Montage series keyboards have been things for me that have been extremely reliable, they're extremely easy to use, and most importantly, they have incredible sound, and they're able to just do everything I want them to do for a keyboard I'm using on the road. When I first started to work with the new Montage M series, I was amazed at some of the new features and how much better they were going to make my life on the road, how much bigger everything sounded, and a lot of the tactile improvements were just things that really stood out to me as being really exciting. The first thing that really caught my attention were all the improvements to the AWM2 engine. They've greatly expanded the preset wave library, and they've also doubled the amount of polyphony on the board. They've also increased the amount of elements from 8 to 128, so your programs can be so much deeper in terms of the amount of options you have, the amount of things you can play at one time, that no gig is going to be too big for you. One example of all these improvements that really jumped out to me was in this particular sound. This sound is called SFZ Tremolo BPM Sync. So the thing that's really rad to me about this sound is that, first of all, it's super complex with the amount of parts that's happening, the amount of instruments that are involved, but it's also something that I'm able to click between scenes and have massive changes in the sound so easily. So that makes the gig really easy to navigate. I would use something like this if I was trying to score a clip or something like that to really demo out some ideas, but do it in a way that was honestly emulating what I was going to hear an actual orchestra do at the very end. Yamaha has also included some beautiful new sounds via the sample libraries on this particular board, and I really notice it with this piano sound. It's a felt piano sound, and it hits me on really like subtle, beautiful levels. So let's take a listen to this particular one. I've been a big fan lately of felt pianos, and Yamaha has included this one on this board, and it gives you such a subtle warmth, and you're hearing some of the dampers and some of the really kind of like more chill sounds that these pianos give, and it's really high quality. The increased polyphony on the Montage M series boards is going to allow you to have these very complex sounds with a bunch of different parts happening, and you're not going to get those possible dropouts that you may experience on other sample-based boards. Here's an example of a rich, complex program with a bunch of different parts. This one is called Full AP, EP, PD, STR. Let's take a listen. There's so much happening in that sound, and I'm able to really control it on a deep level because I have so many things to pick from, and the tactile nature of this instrument makes all of the transitions between parts very simple as well and very easy to do. In addition to the FMX engine, which was on the previous Montage and dealt with all your favorite FM-based sounds, they're now introducing the brand new ANX engine. The new ANX engine is going to deliver you your favorite classic analog-inspired sounds and analog-inspired workflow. The ANX engine has 3 oscillators, noise, and a ton of character shaping options. For example, one of the charms of analog synthesizer sounds is their imperfections, and as you can see on the screen right here, we can actually dive into something like a voltage drift, which is going to give it that imperfect sound. So on that particular sound, you're actually hearing what goes from a really subtle detuning to a massive detuning and then easily back because of this voltage drift emulation on this engine. The other amazing thing that they've included is a ton of different filter options that are extremely easy to get to, extremely easy to edit, extremely easy to play with. All right, so we're gonna get into the filter section. I'm gonna easily click filter type, and then you're one button push away from having all of these options. We have a low pass filter, 24 dB. Another example would be a high pass filter, 18 dB. And you have a ton of options regarding how to play with these filters, such as changing cutoff, resonance, velocity, all types of drive. We've got a ton of things you can do. You also have some really cool and interesting band pass options on here. You've got, on here you have the band pass 6 dB filter. There's also a 12 dB bandpass filter that's really rad. With an engine like this, you can really touch on all of your sound design dreams because there's multiple types of filters, there's pulse width modulation, there's a ring mod, there's a ton of different waveforms you can choose from. You can really hit any idea you've been trying to get towards. Let's check out a couple more of these ANX engine sounds. The first ANX sound I want to show you here is called Plucked Melody, and this is a really bouncy type of sound that has a ton of different modulation options. All right, the next sound I want to show you from the ANX engine is called Delay Hit, and I love this one. I'm biased because I programmed it, but it's a little mix of old video game sound with a little bit of aggression on the side. As a sound designer, I tend to have sound that I program on a bunch of different types of instruments, and what made it really fun to program on this particular board is all of the different modulation options that you can do, where I can change sustain and decay values by messing with the mod wheel, or I can use the super knob to bring in some really heavy saturation. It makes it really interactive and really fun to play because I can modulate it on so many levels. Here's another example of how awesome this ANX engine can be. This particular sound is called Analog String Ensemble. If you notice there, I'm able to hop between having a ton of reverb. I'm opening a couple of different filters at once. There's a lot of things happening. So it's really interactive and super fun to play with because you can really get emotional by having a sound that you can change in so many ways, and they're all very easy to do on this keyboard. All right, now if I'm being honest, I cannot sit in front of a Yamaha keyboard and not play those classic FM sounds. Let's dive into that FMX engine a little bit. This is the classic FM Piano DA. That's such a classic sound. I love that thing. Let's check out one more from the FMX engine. This sound is actually called Yes, FM. That's such a rad sound as well. You may have noticed something on that one where I was taking advantage of a really cool modulation feature called Polyphonic Aftertouch. Polyphonic Aftertouch is where you can actually press harder into the key and control anything on the keyboard, and it happens separately of all of the other keys. This feature, Polyphonic Aftertouch, is available exclusively on the M8x. Let's pull up one more sound to demonstrate Polyphonic Aftertouch. This one's called Country Dreams. One of the things that you're going to really love is the improvements that they've made to both some of the onboard controls and to the workflow. You've now got onboard dedicated Portamento control that's super easy to use. You've got an improved ribbon with new functions there. You've also got this really great screen at the top. I can't tell you the amount of gigs I've played where it's been pitch black on stage, and this thing, I promise you, is going to save my life and hopefully save yours as well in those scenarios. This onboard dedicated Portamento control can actually be really interesting to interact with. I'm going to pull up this sound, ANX Filter Comp, and if you notice as I play this, I'm going to play without the Portamento on, turn it on, and mess with it, and it's all going to be very fluid and very easy to do. Super fun, super easy to work with. I can say the same thing regarding interacting with the new ribbon control. It's very easy and very fun to play with. Let me show you an example using the patch Analog String Ensemble. On this particular patch, I'm going to go from having a ton of reverb to having no reverb, and that gives you some really interesting phrasing options. And now I'm going to pull up that orchestral patch that you heard me play earlier to show you how easy it is to bounce between scenes on these programs. So here you're able to go on a program where you have a ton of different instruments happening. You can really kind of isolate different sections and do different things. So check this out. So using scenes on that particular performance, I'm able to bring some instruments in, take other instruments out. It's like it's my own personal orchestra. In addition to all these sonic and tactile improvements that we've been going through, there's also a bunch of improvements that they made to the workflow. Everything on here loads way faster. You can get through programs because the screen is even more responsive than it was. It just makes using this board a way more simple experience and a way more easy experience so that you don't get detached from the creative process while you're working with a board like this. As you can see here, I can, with just a few seconds of button pushing, get through a ton of different programs, which is going to make a really complex gig way easier because you're not going to have to worry about loading times. You'll be able to go from one thing to the next extremely quickly now. In addition to all those improvements, the Montage M series also integrates seamlessly with your DAW of choice. It offers USB audio and MIDI capabilities for super easy recording. One more thing that I'm very, very hyped about and is expected in early 2024 is this plugin that they're working on. This plugin is called the Expanded Softsynth plugin. Essentially, you're going to be able to take your Montage M series and have it on your laptop in front of you so that you can do all of your edits, all of these kind of performance-based things without your keyboard actually in front of you. The Montage M series is available in both the M6, the M7, which will have lower key counts, and they'll have a key bed that's more tailored to a synthesizer style key bed. The one that I'm playing right here is the M8X, and that's the board that has weighted keys, so if you're a pianist, you're going to be able to have a more familiar feel there. Also available on this particular model is the Polyphonic Aftertouch. If you want to learn more about the Yamaha Montage M series, go to your local GC, call one of their expert gear advisors, or go to guitarcenter.com.